The Sayings of the Desert Fathers. Saint Antony the Great. When the holy Abba Antony lived in the desert, he was beset by anxiety and attacked by many sinful thoughts. He said to God, "Lord, I want to be saved, but these thoughts do not leave me alone. What shall I do in my affliction? How can I be saved?" A short while afterwards, when he got up to go out, Antony saw a man like himself sitting at his work, getting up from his work to pray, then sitting down and plaiting a rope, then getting up again to pray. It was an angel the Lord sent to correct and reassure him. He heard the angel saying to him, "Do this, and you will be saved." At these words, Antony was filled with joy and courage. He did this, and he was saved. When the same Abba Antony thought about the depth of the judgments of God, he asked, "Lord, how is it that some die when they are young, while others drag on to extreme old age? Why are there those who are poor and those who are rich? Why do the wicked men prosper, and why are the just in need?" He heard a voice answering him, "Antony, keep your attention on yourself. These things are according to the judgment of God, and it is not to your advantage to know anything about them." Someone asked Abba Antony, "What must one do in order to please God?" The old man replied, "Pay attention to what I tell you. Whoever you may be, always have God before your eyes. Whatever you do, do it according to the testimony of the Holy Scriptures. In whatever place you live, do not easily leave it. Keep these 3 precepts, and you will be saved." Abba Antony said to Abba Pimen, "This is the great work of a man, always to take the blame for his own sins before God, and to expect temptation to his last breath." He also said, "Whoever has not experienced temptation cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven." He even added, "Without temptations, no one can be saved." Abba Pambo asked Abba Antony, "What ought I to do?" And the old man said to him, "Do not trust in your own righteousness. Do not worry about the past, but control your tongue and your stomach." Abba Antony said, "I saw the snares that the enemy spreads out over the world, and I said, groaning, 'What can get through from such snares?' Then I heard a voice saying to me, 'Humility.'" He also said, "Some have afflicted their bodies by asceticism, but they lack discernment, and so they are far from God." He also said, "Our life and our death is with our neighbor. If we gain our brother, we have gained God. But if we scandalize our brother, we have sinned against Christ." He also said, "Just as fish die if they stay too long out of water, so the monks who loiter outside their cells or pass their time with men of the world lose the intensity of inner peace. So like a fish going towards the sea, we must hurry to reach our cell, for fear that if we delay outside, we will lose our interior watchfulness." He also said, "He who wishes to live in solitude in the desert is delivered from 3 conflicts: hearing, speech, and sight. There is only one conflict for him, and that is with fornication." Some brothers came to find Abba Antony to tell him about the visions they were having, and to find out from him if they were true or if they came from the demons. They had a donkey which died on the way. When they reached the place where the old man was, he said to them before they could ask him anything, "How was it that the little donkey died on the way here?" They said, "How do you know about that, Father?" And he told them, "The demons showed me what happened." So they said, "That was what we came to question you about. For fear we were being deceived. For we have visions which often turn out to be true." Thus the old man convinced them, by the example of the donkey, that their visions came from the demons. A hunter in the desert saw Abba Antony enjoying himself with the brethren, and he was shocked. Wanting to show him that it was necessary sometimes to meet the needs of the brethren, the old man said to him, "Put an arrow in your bow and shoot it." So he did. The old man then said, "Shoot another." And he did so. Then the old man said, "Shoot yet again." And the hunter replied, "If I bend my bow so much I will break it." Then the old man said to him, "It is the same with the work of God. If we stretch the brethren beyond the measure, they will soon break. Sometimes it is necessary to come down to meet their needs." When he heard these words, the hunter was pierced with compunction, and, greatly edified by the old man, he went away. As for the brethren, they went home strengthened. Abba Antony heard of a very young monk who had performed a miracle on the road. Seeing the old man walking with difficulty along the road, he ordered the wild asses to come and carry them until they reached Abba Antony. Those whom they had carried told Abba Antony about it. He said to them, "This monk seems to me to be a ship loaded with goods, but I do not know if he will reach harbor." After a while, Antony suddenly began to weep, to tear his hair and lament. His disciples said to him, "Why are you weeping, Father?" And the old man replied, "A great pillar of the church has just fallen." He meant the young monk. "But go to him and see what has happened." So the disciples went and found the monk sitting on a mat and weeping for the sin he had committed. Seeing the disciples of the old man, he said, "Tell the old man to pray that God will give me just 10 days, and I hope I will have made satisfaction." But in the space of 5 days he died. The brothers praised the monk before Abba Antony. When the monk came to see him, Antony wanted to know how he would bear insults. And seeing that he could not bear them at all, he said to him, "You are like a village magnificently decorated on the outside, but destroyed from within by robbers." A brother said to Abba Antony, "Pray for me." The old man said to him, "I will have no mercy upon you, nor will God have any, if you yourself do not make an effort, and if you do not pray to God." One day some old men came to see Abba Antony. In the midst of them was Abba Joseph. Wanting to test them, the old man suggested a text from the Scriptures, and beginning with the youngest, he asked them what it meant. Each gave his opinion as he was able, but to each one the old man said, "You have not understood it." Last of all he said to Abba Joseph, "How would you explain this saying?" And he replied, "I do not know." Then Abba Antony said, "Indeed, Abba Joseph has found the way, for he has said, 'I do not know.'" Some brothers were coming from Scetes to see Abba Antony. When they were getting into a boat to go there, they found an old man who also wanted to go there. The brothers did not know him. They sat in the boat, occupied by turns with the words of the fathers, scriptures, and their manual work. As for the old man, he remained silent. When they arrived on shore, they found that the old man was going to the cell of Abba Antony too. When they reached the place, Antony said to them, "You found this old man a good companion for the journey?" Then he said to the old man, "You have brought many good brethren with you, father." The old man said, "No doubt they are good, but they do not have a door to their house, and anyone who wishes can enter the stable and loose the ass." He meant that the brethren said whatever came into their mouths. The brethren came to the Abba Antony and said to him, "Speak a word. How are we to be saved?" The old man said to them, "You have heard the scriptures. That should teach you how." But they said, "We want to hear from you too, father." Then the old man said to them, "The gospel says, 'If anyone strikes you on the cheek, turn to him the other also.'" They said, "We cannot do that." The old man said, "If you cannot offer the other cheek, at least allow one cheek to be struck." "We cannot do that either," they said. So he said, "If you are not able to do that, do not return evil for evil." And they said, "We cannot do that either." Then the old man said to his disciple, "Prepare a little brew of corn for these invalids. If you cannot do this or that, what can I do for you? What you need is prayers." A brother renounced the world and gave his goods to the poor, but he kept back a little for his personal expenses. He went to see Abba Antony. When he told him this, the old man said to him, "If you want to be a monk, go into the village, buy some meat, cover your naked body with it, and come here like that." The brother did so, and the dogs and the birds tore at his flesh. When he came back, the old man asked him whether he had followed his advice. He showed him his wounded body, and St. Antony said, "Those who renounce the world but want to keep something for themselves are torn in this way by the demons who make war on them." It happened one day that one of the brethren in the monastery of Abba Elias was tempted. Cast out of the monastery, he went over the mountain to Abba Antony. The brother lived near him for a while, and then Antony sent him back to the monastery from which he had been expelled. When the brothers saw him, they cast him out yet again, and he went back to Abba Antony, saying, "My father, they will not receive me." Then the old man sent him a message, saying, "A boat was shipwrecked at sea, and lost its cargo. With great difficulty it reached the shore. But you want to throw it into the sea, that which has found a safe harbor on the shore." When the brothers understood that it was Abba Antony who had sent them this monk, they received him at once. Abba Antony said, "I believe that the body possesses a natural movement, to which it is adapted, but which it cannot follow without the consent of the soul. It only signifies in the body a movement without passion. There is another movement, which comes from the nourishment and warming of the body by eating and drinking, and this causes the heat of the blood to stir up the body to work. That is why the apostle said, 'Do not get drunk with wine, for that is debauchery.' And in the gospel the Lord also recommends this to his disciples. 'Take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness.'" But there is yet another movement which afflicts those who fight, and that comes from the wiles and jealousy of the demons. You must understand what these three bodily movements are. One is natural. One comes from too much to eat. The third is caused by the demons. He also said, God does not allow the same warfare and temptations to this generation as he did formerly, for men are weaker now and cannot bear so much. It was revealed to Abba Antony in his desert that there was one who was his equal in the city. He was a doctor by profession, and whatever he had beyond his needs he gave to the poor, and every day he sang the Sanctus with the angels. Abba Antony said, A time is coming when men will go mad, and when they see someone who is not mad, they will attack him, saying, You are mad, you are not like us. The brethren came to Abba Antony, and laid before him a passage from Leviticus. The old man went out into the desert, secretly followed by Abba Amonas, who knew that this was his custom. Abba Antony went a long way off, and stood there praying, crying in a loud voice, God, send Moses to make me understand this saying. Then there came a voice speaking with him. Abba Amonas said that although he heard the voice speaking with him, he could not understand what it said. 3 fathers used to go and visit Blessed Antony every year, and 2 of them used to discuss their thoughts and the salvation of their souls with him, but the third always remained silent and did not ask him anything. After a long time, Abba Antony said to him, You often come here to see me, but you never ask me anything. And the other replied, It is enough for me to see you, Father. They said that a certain old man asked God to let him see the fathers, and he saw them all except Abba Antony. So he asked his guide, Where is Abba Antony? He told him in reply that in the place where God is, there Antony would be. A brother in a monastery was falsely accused of fornication, and he arose and went to Abba Antony. The brethren also came from the monastery to correct him and bring him back. They set about proving that he had done this thing, but he defended himself and denied that he had done anything of the kind. Now Abba Paphnutius, who is called Cephalus, happened to be there, and he told them this parable. I have seen a man on the bank of the river, buried up to his knees in mud, and some men came to give him a hand to help him out, but they pushed him further up to his neck. Then Abba Antony said this about Abba Paphnutius, Here is a real man who can care for souls and save them. All those present were pierced to their hearts by the word of the old man, and they asked forgiveness of the brother. So, admonished by the fathers, they took their brother back to the monastery. Some say of Saint Antony that he was spirit-born, that is, carried along by the Holy Spirit, but he would never speak of this to men. Such men see what is happening in the world, as well as knowing what is going to happen. One day, Abba Antony received a letter from the Emperor Constantius, asking him to come to Constantinople, and he wondered whether he ought to go. So he said to Abba Paul, his disciple, Ought I to go? He replied, If you go, you will be called Antony, but if you stay here, you will be called Abba Antony. Abba Antony said, I no longer fear God, but I love him, for love casts out fear. He also said, Always have the fear of God before your eyes. Remember him who gives death and life. Hate the world and all that is in it. Hate all peace that comes from the flesh. Renounce this life, so that you may be alive to God. Remember what you have promised God, for it will be required of you on the day of judgment. Suffer hunger, thirst, nakedness. Be watchful and sorrowful. Weep and groan in your heart. Test yourselves to see if you are worthy of God. Despise the flesh, so that you may preserve your souls. Abba Antony once went to visit Abba Amun in Mount Nitria, and when they met, Abba Amun said, "By your prayers the number of the brethren increases, and some of them want to build more cells where they may live in peace. How far away from here do you think we should build the cells?" Abba Antony said, "Let us eat at the 9th hour, and then let us go for a walk in the desert and explore the country." So they went out into the desert, and they walked until sunset. And then Abba Antony said, "Let us pray and plant the cross here, so that those who wish to do so may build here. Then, when those who remain there want to visit those who have come here, they can take a little food at the 9th hour, and then come. If they do this, they will be able to keep in touch with each other without distraction of mind. The distance is 12 miles. Abba Antony said, "Whoever hammers a lump of iron first decides what he is going to make of it, a scythe, a sword, or an axe. Even so we ought to make up our own minds what kind of virtue we want to forge, or we labor in vain." He also said, "Obedience with abstinence gives men power over wild beasts." He also said, 9 monks fell away after many labors and were obsessed with spiritual pride, for they put their trust in their own works, and being deceived, they did not give due heed to the commandment that says, "Ask your father, and he will tell you." And he said this, "If he is able to, a monk ought to tell his elders confidently how many steps he takes, and how many drops of water he drinks in his cell, in case he is in error about it."